You are listening to the Berlin House Music Podcast. Okay. And we're live.
Live.
Welcome, everyone. This episode, we have Midori.
You sound a bit like the blind boy. This is this guy that I'm listening, the podcast.
Okay.
Because he always...
he's blind.
No, he's not. He's just wearing a plastic bag on his head.
What?
He's wearing this... I'm actually not... That was one thing I was wondering. Is he actually wearing this plastic bag while he's recording? Because that would make a lot of noise. But I think he does.
He is wearing a plastic...
Yeah, so the reason behind that is that he doesn't want to be, like, in public. He doesn't want to be known who he is.
But he still uploads, like, video of him with a plastic bag.
Actually, it's just a podcast, so... But I think it's just his, like, trademark.
But is he wearing it during the podcast?
I'm not sure. I mean, that wouldn't make any sense, right? Because you don't see the person anyways. But I think he does. I think because once he mentioned it, and that he actually is... But he's wearing, like, a bag that is, like, especially, like, how do you say? Specially made for him. So...
Okay.
It's like a designer plastic bag.
Okay.
I know it sounds really stupid, but, like, I really like this podcast. And it just reminded me the way you started talking, because he always goes like, "Welcome, you glorious cunts." And then he's cursing a lot, which I really like. He says a lot of, like, fucking and, like, I really like that.
We cannot have those words on the
Shit.
show. I'm sorry.
Am I going to get censored?
You are. We're just going to put, like, peeps.
I think
and
you
every
invited
time.
the wrong person, because I think I'm swearing a lot in my everyday language.
No, I think it's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you'll see.
I think generally we don't want to offend anyone, you know. That's, like, an important thing. But I think because some cursing words are classified then too, you know.
To be, like, sexist, for example.
I think,
Of course.
like, the C word that you just said before
Yeah,
is
maybe.
one of them.
Well, I was just giving an example of
Yes.
how he sometimes talks, but which is actually interesting because he's very, very feminist. He always talks about feminist topics. So that doesn't really make sense.
Well, it depends how you kind of see the word, because what I learned from a different podcast actually was a dude who wrote like a song and was about like it was a rap kind of thing, but there was the word hoe, like don't be a hoe. But the word hoe was like for the girls and for the guys, because being a hoe is just like being a hoe, you know? It doesn't matter if you're like what sex you are.
Okay, I mean...
It's like the behavior of a, you know?
Okay, but that's the way you interpret it, right? Or...
No, so that's the thing. The interviewer basically then asked him about it, and it was like, okay, it's for both. It's like not just like for women from his perspective.
Yeah.
How he wrote it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I understand.
So I think in the same way, you know, if you use then cunt
Sure.
in, you know,
Yeah,
for
sure.
a person who's being cunty or just for fun,
Yeah.
then actually describing.
Yeah, I think it's like always very depending on who you're talking to, and I mean, people get offended of different things, right? And I don't know. I think some people are just taking things sometimes, you know, of course it's important to be politically correct and to not offend anyone, but you should also be able to speak the way it's naturally coming to you. You know, like it's a difficult topic for sure. And I'm definitely not saying you should be able to use any word you want. There's for sure words that you shouldn't use. But yeah, there's like these words like the cunt, which is definitely like a gray zone. And I'm sure there's like some raging feminists who go batshit crazy when you use it, and they get very angry. And then on the other hand, it's a word that's used a lot. So I don't know. I think there's never black and white. Is what I'm saying.
True.
I guess. I don't know.
A lot of gray.
A lot of gray and a lot of
gray.
perspectives,
Perspectives.
I guess. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so what about a little introduction of Marie Midori?
A little introduction.
Yes.
Well, what do you want to know?
So, like, your name?
Oh, you just said it.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but like, what you kind of do in the daily life, not at the moment, but kind of,
Okay.
more in the DJ kind of vibe.
Okay. So before Corona, let's say that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been half DJing, half working in a club thing called Quick Belma, which was mentioned previously.
Yes.
A couple of times. Yeah, basically I've been since 2014. I've been very engaged in the club scene and working in different positions, getting to know the work in the night scene, and also learning how to make it sustainable for myself, because I knew quite soon that this is the area I want to work in and I want to stay in. And in order to be able to work there for a longer time, because of course it's tiring to work in nightlife. It's like unnatural rhythm, a lot of parties. In order to be able to do that, yeah, I've been learning to sustain myself. Can you say that? I don't know. But
sure.
Okay, I guess people get what
You
I
have
mean.
my permission.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so I've been just working a lot. Then I at some point I landed at Crack Belma, where I started working at the bar, and then very soon I was given night manager shifts, and then I also started doing bookings and the social media, like taking care of Facebook posts and stuff like that, and just generally doing a lot of. So the thing is, like, I studied German language, so I think it's okay to say that I'm quite okay with in writing texts and stuff. And yeah, so I started just doing a lot of posts, and generally, like, whenever there's something that needs to be in a written form, I do that in Edric Bama. Even if it's just a sign that says, please put your mask on or whatever. Like, yeah, this kind of stuff. And and the other time is like the main thing that I want to get at is DJing, and which is also the reason why I'm working in nightlife, because I want to work at a place where it's somehow connected to my passion, so-called. Yeah.
Yes. And when you started, like, what's the first stuff that you played actually when you started DJing? Because I think that's very interesting. I know from my side, it's like, I came to the housey side of things.
Okay, so this is going to be the embarrassing story about my past. All right, so, okay, then I have to, go back to the very beginning, I guess, when I started going clubbing.
Okay.
So, yeah, in the beginning, when I started going clubbing, I went to places like Kata a lot, places where they play a lot of tech house, and which was also the kind of music that got me hooked first. And then after a while, so I started DJing basically because I've always had an interest in collecting music, even before I got into electronic music, actually. And then I started going to clubs, and quite often. And I wasn't satisfied with what the DJs played. Like, the sets were boring. They didn't really get me hooked anymore so much. And I thought, it cannot be that fucking hard to make a nice set. I don't know. It was very hard for me to understand why there were so many, in my opinion, not so good DJs.
Yeah.
And I've already started collecting music, just electronic music, just for fun. And then I was very lucky because my flatmate at that time, he had 2 turntables that he didn't use. So I just asked him if I could borrow them. He said yes. I put them up in my room. I bought a mixer, and I bought some records. And I had a very good friend at that time, who I went partying with a lot, and she so we decided to start doing it together, like learning to mix, and we would meet regularly, like would both collect music, and yeah, that was a great way to start. So yeah, but I started like my first records. Actually, my very first records were from Italo Johnson, which I still like.
Ah, nice.
So I'm still actually I'm a bit proud of that. That like my very first records are still the ones that I actually play. But those were perfect for like mixing because they the rhythms are super simple, very clear, and that was perfect practice to learn beat matching on records. And then yeah, we started playing DJing together, me and my friend, and we started playing a lot of like like this ghetto house stuff, but like there's very different styles of ghetto house, right? So it was like this, yeah, I would say a bit cheap ghetto house that we really liked. So yeah, that's actually where I started off, and from there it's interesting how the taste changes over years, but I guess it's normal. Like after a while, you just realize that the whole like rhythms and the patterns of this kind of style of music, it's always the same, and it's very simple and very. It gets boring. Like the beats just repeats themselves again and again for like 4 minutes, and yeah, after a while, you just realize it's boring, and then you look for stuff that is a bit more challenging for your own understanding, I guess. And that's how my taste evolved over the years to where I am now. And it's interesting because I'm looking back at the music from back then, and I'm like, ooh, like, like like what the fuck. But I guess it's normal, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, but yeah, I don't know. Do you never reach this point where you're like getting bored of music, or you hear stuff from a couple years ago and you don't think it's good anymore?
Well, I had this like in the beginning more because I had a journey through music myself. But I landed on house music, and since I landed on it, basically, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not. That's it. It's like this is the actual music that I really. Of course, I have like other tastes in music that's really nice and stuff, but house just stays the same. So let's say the sets that I made 3 years ago are still relevant.
Okay. Yeah, I can say that for myself, for example. I mean, I also had like a phase. I mean, that's why we got to know each other, right? Where we used to play more like classical house.
Yes.
But the same, like, I mean, I still like it, but it's just not, for me personally, it's not so interesting anymore. And I guess it's a very, different way of approaching things. And sometimes you just feel like you want to keep developing, or you want to keep finding new things, or like different styles. And like for me, it's always been like that. I've been interested in things for some time, and then I get bored of it and I need to move on to something else. And that's exactly what happened for me with music. So of course I'm now at the moment where I'm thinking, yeah, like this is my style, and I'm not gonna, like it's not gonna change that much anymore. But who knows? I mean, can always happen, right? Maybe in 1 year I'm gonna be into like
hard techno,
exactly, or gamma or whatever. Who knows? Who knows where the journey like brings you?
True.
Yeah.
That is very true. Yeah, and I think generally it is interesting to then, for example, you started mixing break beats into like the housey stuff, like in the beginning, and then it's like, okay, it's very interesting because every break beat had like a different structure, and then it's always a challenge kind of to get the mixing right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, generally I would say I really like to mix different genres together, but as for me, that is kind of, I see the challenge in that, because at some point I was like, let's say, like if I go back to this house music phase that I had, it's just, it's like always more or less the same rhythms, right? And at some point I'm just, okay, like been there, done that.
Yeah.
Now I want to try something else. And that's when I started, experimenting with different kind of structures in music and rhythms, right? And I like to mix like a 4 to the floor track with breakbeat, and then go back again and like play also with the energy of music, because I think that's where the beauty is in it, to like kind of draw connections where there's actually not really a connection.
Yeah.
Or there's maybe just an emotional connection in the music. Like you have two very different tracks. Like let's say one is 4-to-the-floor techno, one is a breakbeat track, but somehow they both have a similar, like to me it's a lot about feelings in the music. And somehow they have a similar kind of vibe. Or I feel it's a similar vibe, so I try to mix them together. And I guess that's how it happens mostly in my sets. But I can also see that sometimes it might be a bit too much because I'm like, yeah, I'm going all over the place sometimes. And in some sets, I can tell, okay, this was maybe a bit too random for some people.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have it that way than just playing the same style for 2 hours, which personally for me is super boring. And also I get that it's very different styles for people also who go to the club. Some people want to get lost in this like meditative state of like having the same kind of vibe for 2 hours and just letting go and like, yeah, as I said, meditating in the dancing. But for me, it's more like I want to explore different emotions in a set. So I need a lot of change. And I guess it's just very different, like character, like what kind of type of person you are, and what do you actually want to have when you go dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think generally what I experience when I'm looking at DJs that I know personally, and how their sets vary, it is also very linked to their state of mind at that time, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of it is an expression of feelings that you're feeling at that time, because that's probably the music you're listening to, that's the vibe you're into at that time.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, especially when you're, let's say it's Monday morning, and you've been in the club for like 20 hours or whatever, and then you may be at this point where you're so exhausted already. I mean, you're not ready to go home yet, but you're too tired to have a super experimental set that changes the emotions every 3 tracks, right?
Yeah.
And then it can definitely be nice to have like the same kind of vibe for 2 hours. And yeah, I think every style of set has its what's the word for that in English? It's a very good German word, Daseinsberechtigung. It means like, it has the right to be there.
Yeah.
But it just needs to be, it just have to find the right place at the right time, kind of.
Yeah.
I guess.
So do you actually record most of your sets, of all of your sets when you're playing at the clubs?
Actually, no. And one of my best friends, he always like kind of wants to beat me for it, that I don't record. And he's like getting really angry at me for not recording. But no, I don't know. For me, I want to have it like, I mean, I understand the logic behind it, that of course it's good to have recordings that you can put out at some point. Let's say if someone asks you for a podcast or something. But I don't like that, because for me it's like I go to the club and I play the set in that moment, and it's for that moment. It's made, like it's created in that moment. It's created because of where I am, what's the vibe, what kind of people are there, what time it is. And the thing is, if you have the recording and you listen to it afterwards, you will never be able to like, it's not the same, because it misses the whole like background information. You get me?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't like to do this. And it's the same when I record a mix, for example, or a podcast. I don't want to just send in something pre-recorded, as in like something that was recorded in a club, because it's just not right to me. Like it's not the right vibe for it. Like a podcast that you record, or like a mix that you record for home listening, it's for me, it's a whole different thing. And it has complete different criterias of what it should, like in my opinion, what it should be, and where it should lead the people who listen to it to. Yeah. So
you record a special mix for everyone who asks you for like a mix?
Yeah, I do. And it's a lot of work, but I guess I wouldn't feel like it would be the right thing. I would feel dishonest to not do it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there are also a lot of people who record, let's say, 4 or 5 mixes ahead, and then
yeah,
just give it around. But a lot of DJs see it is like a promo tool
Yeah.
to have content, to share it.
Sure, but yeah, I think there's just so much of it out there, right? Like there's like a million, tons of DJs, and there's so many mixes out there, and we're just like flooding in like mixes, you know. And so I think it's like I don't want to create content just to have like a mass of thing that I can put out, right? For me, it's like, so I'm very, very, very like, how do you say it? Like I'm a very perfectionist, yeah. And I would, yeah, it doesn't feel right. It's just all I can say. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people who just, you know, they play records at home just randomly, and then they press record and they cut out like the best 1 or 2 hours of it, and they use that as a podcast.
Yeah.
And for me, that's like you have like a random selection basically, and you haven't really put thought in like how the mix should be, especially when you record. Let's say it's a 1 hour mix that you record for someone. 1 hour is not long. You have like, let's say, between 12 and 20 tracks in 1 hour. So there's not much time to like create a certain kind of vibe, and if you just play randomly, you will never be able to like really create something out of it, I think.
True. And this is very interesting compared to different kind of genres, or let's say a little bit of comparison to the scene in the Netherlands, where a lot of it was like you get half an hour, or a lot of DJs on the big festivals were like half an hour, 45 minutes max.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's a very different vibe here, because here you start at like, you know.
Wait, so you have
20
DJs
hours.
playing half an hour?
Yeah.
What? That's like 6 tracks?
Yes.
7 tracks?
Well, depends. The mixing depends also on the genre.
Okay, sure.
So then, let's say if it's more commercial, which many of the festivals are, then it's a bit more like build up and drop.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can mix on.
But like half an hour, you cannot. How can you create something in half an hour?
You don't.
It's also like for the people who dance, it's I don't know, like it's tough to get into it then, because like every half hour it changes, so it could be like a complete break, right? Like after, wow, okay, interesting.
It is. So that was a bit of a, it was like very nice to experience when I came to Berlin, also that the sets are generally longer, so you have your time to like go through a whole journey basically of music.
Definitely. I mean, you also need the time to get into it, get in the flow, like change the vibe, you know, get the people to like listen to what you're doing actually.
Yeah.
And that was something was really interesting for me to experience. For example, like the longest sets I've played were at Golden Gate. Like I played the closing at Donnerdogge. It's like the Thursday party at Golden Gate, and these parties were known for like going very, very long. So they would start at midnight and then they would go to like 2 p.m. minimum. Like, I mean, depending on how many people are there, of course, in the end. But and there I had the closing slot, so it's basically open end till the night manager says, okay, it's enough. Like, we're gonna close now.
Okay.
And sometimes, I would play for like 6 hours or something, right? I would start at 9 and then play till 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And of course, it's very challenging because it's very long, it's very exhausting, especially you basically get up in the morning and you just go to the club, you know, like super tired.
Yeah.
But also I feel like it's like I love to play closings, I have to say, because you get the crowd, you get the people who are, you know, they've been partying all night, so they're already in the zone very much. And also the people, like, let's say people who are just go clubbing for the clubbing experience, not because they're really interested in music. They've been very likely to have gone home already, because they probably stay for like 5-6 hours and then they go home. So you only have like the hard ravers left, basically. And that's very nice. And then you start playing, and it's funny because when people start like, so there's sometimes very different kind of style before me, and then I start playing, and I can tell that the people that need some time to like get used to the new vibe I'm giving them, and they need time to like settle in to the new style they are being presented now. And And I really like that because I can tell in the beginning it's very often like that people, they're on the dance floor, they're talking to each other, they maybe, it's a break, there's a new DJ, so they would go to the toilet or would go get a new drink. And so the first hour is always a bit difficult because I'm getting very insecure because people leaving the dance floor, I'm not sure, I feel like they're not really into it. And then after an hour, you can really see or you can really tell how the energy gets more concentrated on the music again and how they stop talking, and they really like let go and they just are there in the moment. And that's super beautiful. And then after this hour, you can really feel like you're having the strings in your hand now, and you can pull it in different directions. And that's when the fun really starts. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the thing when you're having energy bouncing between you and the crowd, basically. And in the beginning, it's always like this because the previous DJ was obviously playing like for a longer set, and then they're vibing on with his vibe. Then you come with the new energy. They need to get used to it for sure. But I always notice this, like, it doesn't matter whenever a DJ is changing, people will go get some drinks, people will go to the bathroom,
of course,
people will have a little break,
Which is funny because in the beginning it's when you're most nervous, right? So this is where you need it the most. Basically, you need this confirmation of the people the most, and that's where you don't get it.
Yes. I had it actually once. I played after a really, really, really like shitty DJ. Basically, the first track that I played, everyone was so happy. That someone came that was actually knowing what he does.
That's true.
So that was a very great feeling because I was super insecure. I was like nervous, and then I went up there and I killed it.
Yeah, true. Sometimes you get like you're getting very lucky, and if like people have been like, let's say, a bit unlucky with the music all night, they're gonna be very grateful if someone finally comes up and gives them what they've been longing for all night, right?
True.
So yeah, sometimes, but also on the other, this is like I would say a two-sided sword, because it can also go the other direction. Like if you're very unlucky and you're the last one playing, you have the last slot. And let's say the music hasn't been good all night, it's very likely that most people have left already also. So you're very dependent on the people who play before you. Yeah. Which is why this is like the only point where I don't like closing so much, because you have no power over what happens in that night. And you're like totally depending on what happened before. Yes. So that sucks.
Yeah, I think with closing, generally I find it hard. Because I don't last so long, like in the night.
You're not a true warrior.
Yeah, the thing is, I can go to like 10, 12 maximum the next day, It's like start at 12, go till 12 in the like afternoon or like noon, and that's it.
Yeah, but then you sleep before, right?
Yes, then I'm just done. My body doesn't work anymore. I need to go.
But I mean, if you have, let's say you play the closing.
Yes.
I mean, depending on what time it is, but you can go to sleep in the night and then just go fresh,
Yes, and
right?
this is exactly, but this is the thing that I've like done a lot of times, but then I come fresh, and the people, let's say, have been partying all night, they're like sweaty, and you just see the party vibe going on, and then you just come super fresh, and there is kind of this, the people are kind of grossed out by your freshness.
They smell you've just been in the shower,
it's
right?
Like, dude, what are you doing here? You're too fresh to be here. You're not on the same vibe. So then I find it a bit hard to catch their vibe, to actually present a proper closing that is in line with what they like, with whichever vibe they have been on, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, if you've never experienced one, I mean, I go back to like, I've had these days where I've been one of the last ones in the club, right? So I kind of know how this feels. I'm not doing it anymore, but I mean now not at all anyways, but like also before I have like my hard party years are over for sure. But I still know how it kind of feels. And the thing is like, I mean, I know some DJs, they just, which I couldn't do either. Like they just go, let's say they have their gig starts at, let's say like 4 a.m. So they arrive 15 minutes before, and then they just immediately start playing. And this is also something I couldn't do because you definitely need to, or I definitely need to soak in the atmosphere a bit before. So I always try to be there at least 1 hour before to just, get into the zone a bit, to like watch the crowd a little bit, to analyze, what they might need. I mean, not that much, This sounds like I'm making like big analysis in my head. That's not how it is. But, just generally like understanding the vibe and just guessing a bit what they might want, what they need, and what feels right to me to play in that moment. And I think I couldn't just go there like 15 minutes before. I would feel super stressed out because I would have no idea what I should actually do.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a place that you don't know that well, or like let's say you have never played there before, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I think it's a privilege kind of to live in a city where the clubs are like so many clubs around Berlin, and you can just walk around and go into the club and the other club. Like not now, but
I mean, I totally forgot already how it feels.
right?
Just
It's
to
crazy.
remember.
It's like history.
Yeah.
This is like club
Yeah,
history.
like when you sometimes just try to remember like these club
Yes.
nights and just think like how many people are there on one spot, and it feels awkward to think about like being there and no one's wearing masks, of course, everyone's touching, it's like
Yeah, you can rarely walk through the crowd,
yeah,
but to
and
be honest, it is a great feeling.
yes,
It's like
of
if
course.
you take out the whole germs thing and virus thing,
Yeah.
somehow the energy, you go there, all the people are just chilling, having a good time, like everybody's doing their
Yeah.
thing, but there's still kind of people are coming together.
Yes,
in a way.
of course. Yeah, I really miss that.
And yeah, me too, man. And just the warmth of
The warmth of the crowd.
the warmth of the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, drunk people. Yeah.
Yeah. But then let's say if people are interested in DJing, becoming a DJ in like a village, that's very hard because the closest then you can go to like become a DJ is to play at the neighbors' parties and but it's going to be more all around, so you're already locked into like a certain kind of DJ image, the all around DJ who's going to come and play at your wedding, who does take requests kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to get into the club, especially if it's like 2-hour drive or by train.
Yeah, but then it's also the question, what makes you actually want to become a DJ if you're not in that environment at all anyways, like
The internet.
True. I never thought about that. Yeah, true, that's actually a good answer. True, you can watch it on bar. Yeah, true, actually.
Or maybe you like go to a couple of festivals,
Yeah, true,
a year,
that's very
and you're
true.
like, I like this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I somehow, the internet is the best solution, but I never think about it much. I'm, very analog sometimes, I guess. Also analog thinking. So this, interesting.
Yeah. So, clubbing. Do you have any kind of expectations, ideas of what's going to happen to the Berlin club scene?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know. I won't say I have any expectations because I think it's not so good to have expectations when you don't know what the future is going to bring, and it's difficult to have expectations that are very likely to not be met. I don't know. It's honestly, I'm trying to not think so much of the future because I feel like it doesn't help in any ways to do it. And I guess we'll see how it's going to work out. I mean, for sure, there's going to be a lot of clubs that are not going to open again, I guess. And I'm also like almost sure that definitely the scene is going to change a lot. When everything like slowly starts getting back to normal. I mean normal in quote marks, because there's not going to be any normal after that anymore, or not. It's not going to be the way we used to be. It's not going to be the way we were used to it before Corona.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, you can you can definitely have a lot of scenarios in your head how it might be in the future. But I think it's very tough to think about it. I think it's just something that we will just see what's gonna happen, right? Like, yeah.
Definitely.
Do you have any like scenarios in your head how it's gonna be?
I have dark visions.
Dark visions. Okay.
Yeah, but I think generally clubs don't make too much money anyways, and I think now the musicians themselves are not so motivated, or like the DJs are not so motivated to do a lot of DJing at their home because the club is closed. So I think with this, less music is being sold as well, like inside of the...
Do you think so?
I think so, for sure.
Actually, I think there's a lot of DJs and producers who are... Like, I find this very interesting because I've been thinking about this topic a bit because for me personally, I can tell that I'm very unmotivated to occupy myself with electronic music. I'm barely listening to anything. I haven't bought any records in, I don't know, half a year or something. And I've barely like been digging any music, any electronica music at least. And I wanted to get into producing, which I did a bit during the summer, but then because I was moving, I kind of got totally out of it again and haven't found the motivation to get back into it. But I feel there's a lot of DJs and producers who are like kind of desperately like trying to keep it alive somehow, you know. And I don't know, this is like a hot take now, but I think it's maybe because this has been like the number one. I mean, for me as well, it's been kind of the number one thing, but there's so many other things that are interesting as well in the world, right? There's like so many things you can try out, and you know, like new hobbies that you can explore. And but I feel like there's a lot of people who are very focused on this thing because this is what they're used to do, this is what they used to be successful with, and this has been the big passion, and it's been alive because the Berlin club scene has been very alive. And yes. Now this is all gone, and they're kind of still like clinging to it, and you know, like doing like, the best example is like doing this live streams from home, DJing and stuff. And I find that a bit like, for me personally, it's a bit strange. I mean, not strange, I can totally understand why people do it, but it's just, for me personally, I couldn't. Like, it would feel so, like, it would miss all the base of it for me. Like, everything that is my motivation of doing it is just gone.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess, yeah. How's it been for you? I mean, you've been also still doing, keep doing your Berlin house music.
Of course, Berlin house music is always alive.
Of course.
No, but this is the thing. I actually got extra motivated with Berlin house music because of, let's say, clubs being shut down and there is no DJs playing any music that people can check out.
Yeah.
So that means more music online, but also like basically supporting the artists to promote their tracks, etc.
Of course, yeah.
But I haven't been buying that much music, and I have, like, for sure haven't been buying too much vinyl. I spoke to Raphael Kirsch, and he has the same, basically, because he also connects it to the vibe of the club, or you come around with your friends, you listen to this record that you're probably going to play later on tonight, you know, you checked it out.
Yeah.
And everything kind of has a purpose. But now it seems like, yeah, okay, you can buy all the records you have, but you're never going to be able to play them.
Exactly. I mean, it shouldn't be about playing the music in the club, right? But somehow it's like, I don't know. I mean, I still enjoy listening to music, and I still, yeah. Actually, I don't know what I wanted to say. I'm sorry. I got a bit out of it.
That's all right. No, but I think, yeah, the sales, I think because of the clubs closing down, the sales of music have dropped under DJs who would buy the tracks for playing purposes.
But I think there has been more people producing, right? Don't you think?
Yes, definitely. There have been more people producing, and there have been a lot more people online and streaming basically, but not
Yes.
only streaming live stream, but also like playing other people's music. So
Yes.
a lot of views, a lot of plays, let's say, like the online activity in general
Hmm.
is higher. But back to Spotify thing, streaming, you don't get a lot as an artist from it.
No,
as a
of course
producer.
not. For sure not. Yeah, but I mean, when it comes to electronic music, do you listen to electronic music at home at all?
I listen to electronic music at home.
Okay.
Well, I listen to house music at home.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
But
yeah.
But I'm also confronted with it a lot of the times. So what I do
Of
also
course.
a lot of times is like go to the inbox and there is always fresh music and I just go through it. And I'm like,
Of course,
okay,
for you,
nice,
it's a
nice.
different it's a different job because you're actually putting out premieres and stuff. You're kind
Yeah.
of obligated to listen to stuff for sure.
True.
For me,
I don't think I would be listening. I don't listen to a lot of music next to that.
Yeah.
Let's say.
Okay.
Then I would rather go to producing or listen to instrumental 80s or 90s hip hop,
Okay.
old school stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. Like for me, it's I'm not listening. Like electronic music is for me pure club music, unless it's like, let's say, ambient or, like down tempo stuff, which is
House music.
no. But house music is definitely also for me club music. It's very dance oriented to me.
Yes. Okay.
It's different if you have like as an ambient is a very good example. I guess this is also a style of music that has gotten much more popular over the past year because of this being at home a lot and trying to, somehow be mindful and like learn to be mindful. Also like learn to be able to endure being at home that much, right? So I think this kind of music can really help you to get into the right mindset. I have to say, for me, ambient has been amazing for like doing yoga or meditating and stuff. It can really help to get into the zone, kind of. But like electronic dance music. I mean, it's called electronic dance music for a reason. It's and it's just not the same if you listen to it at home, right?
Yes, but the thing is, electronic dance music got a bad reputation.
Oh, I'm not. Okay, I didn't mean EDM in that sense.
Yeah, but that's the thing,
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
So we need to be
Okay, sorry. So I mean, with electronic dance music, I mean
real music.
I mean club music in general. I mean, it can be techno, breakbeat, whatever. Like
Yes.
It's for me. I didn't mean EDM like what the stuff you hear at Tomorrowland, the stuff that David Guetta's playing. No, I didn't mean it that way. Yeah, good that we talked that out. No, I'm not talking about EDM.
Yes.
I think I will never talk about EDM.
That's fine.
I have nothing to say to that. But yeah, I know a lot of people not a lot of people, but I know from some people that they actually listen to that kind of stuff at home. And yeah, it's just, I don't really understand why. I don't know, like for me, it's hard to understand why you would listen to, it's the same with, I couldn't listen to like heavy metal at home all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like it would stress me out so much after a while. I can listen to like some rock music and stuff, of course, but like I have to be in the mind for it, like in the mood for it. And the thing with this kind of music is I wouldn't be able to listen to that and do something else simultaneously. And I think that's the difficulty, to find music that can go along as like kind of like background, like not to be too there wouldn't be too, no, I missed the word, when it's like taking over everything.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing with like, let's say ambient, or like I've had this like big playlist that I made with, like, it's called Chills, and it's like just chill beat music. It can be like R&B and like things that go nicely in the background without being too damn, what's the word,
To in the forefront, to present.
Too present, yeah.
I know there is like
There's a
another
word, right? Like
I'm
I
searching for
don't.
it too.
That's the problem when you're not native. Anyways, yeah. So I've been listening to a lot of
Too dominant.
dominant. Yeah, that was what I was
it's
looking
not-
for.
mm,
But
okay.
that's a good one.
I'm just gonna throw out words in between.
Okay, we'll find at some point. But yeah, I've been definitely, and I think but I think there's like a lot of people who are very like focused on electronic music also in in their everyday life, and that's everything they're listening to. Yeah, this goes back again to this thing of I'm getting bored of it after a while, right? I need changes all the time.
Okay.
Which is also the reason why I'm not only listening to electronic music, because there's so much other really good music, right? And I mean, there's like so much music out there, and like also a lot of different genres, a lot of like weird stuff where you think like, okay, what the fuck is this? I've never heard anything like this before, and it's just I want to explore these things, and I want to find like things that are new and interesting somehow, and that makes you think and makes you like wonder how did this end up where it is now, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of it. I mean, that's the beauty of everything, probably. Like, yeah, which is probably also the reason why I've been using this like lockdown time a lot to like explore other things than music. Because the luxury of having a lot of time, which is great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, it has been an opportunity to actually do a lot of things they have never been able to do because of the lack of time. And I think you're totally right about like more producers coming out or more people producing tracks generally. For others, it has been a lot of hard work with no time off.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you if there was something that you, like some new things that you've tried out over the past year, but you've been working a lot, so maybe.
Working is one of the new things I've tried out last year.
Working for like, okay.
Because I've, finished the studies, but haven't been really, like, besides playing music, haven't been doing a lot of work. But now I have been. It's really interesting to get a total different rhythm too.
Oh yeah,
I wake up every late day at around 5 a.m. in the morning instead of coming home at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I have tried out. I have been actually, production-wise, I have been making less house.
Oh wow.
And a bit more breakbeaty in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't think a lot of new things going on.
Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, you've been working a lot, so you didn't have that much time in the end.
No.
Right? So, yeah.
But that's the thing. I feel generally when I'm more busy, I'm more productive.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But I somehow didn't. The problem I have with like making music, let's say, or taking the time apart to do music is I used to always do it just on inspiration vibe that comes in. Then I drop everything else and I just get into, let's say, the making of the beat or whatever the inspiration is at that time. If you don't have that luxury of having, let's say, the time to do that, then I'm not doing a lot unless it's in my hours off that I can do, like work on tracks. But I think that's the wrong approach.
I think there's no wrong right. Everyone has to find their own approach.
True. So for me, this doesn't really work.
Yeah.
I think I need to just make time for it and plan a session. And when if I have the inspiration, that's like great. If I don't, that's like not too bad either.
Yeah.
But just to have the ability to. And a friend advised me on this actually earlier, but I am a lot of times very stubborn. And I said like, no, I just feel like if I feel it, inspiration, I go straight to it. And no, it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean that was one thing I really wanted to do last year, was starting like really getting to producing, because of course it just makes sense. Now the clubs are closing. This is the perfect time to really spend a lot of time on learning how to use Ableton, learning how to use all these machines that you want to use. And I have to say, I mean, I've had quite a few sessions with friends where where we've been really like working on music very intensely, and through these sessions I learned a lot about Ableton. And but then I tried to do it myself, and it was somehow I never have this like I wake up and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do some music today. I really don't have it, and it's weird because actually I've been working on one track and I almost finished it, and I really got into the flow. And then after a while, when you really like, I mean, it's super nice feeling when you have this, what you just described, having this like flow and everything kind of comes to it naturally. It doesn't feel like work anymore. But it's just very hard to get into this zone in the first place and like to stick to it and just keep doing it, right? And I'm always wondering why it is that way, that I don't have this like urge to create music, because I think for a lot of people it is, they really need this as like an outlet, you know, like they need this creative outlet to deal with their everyday life. I don't know.
Yeah.
And somehow, yeah, I somehow don't have that so much, and I've been always wondering why it is that way. And I don't know. I think I just had this thought that maybe the reason behind it is that I mean, I really enjoy doing music when I do it, no question. But it's not like, as I said, it's not like I need it to, you know, be mentally stable.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's like other ways for me to express myself, or like I have other things that really keep me in balance, which are more important to me. Like I haven't been able to like put making music into my daily routine or structure so far yet, because I've been having so many other things that I've had to put into my routine, like, you know, like doing sports and like going outside for a bit, and like, let's say sometimes I meditate, and cooking and listening to podcasts and all these things that are like, they're already taking up so much time of my daily like time to work on myself,
Yeah.
that this music part, it, because I know it's going to take like, if I want to do it, it's going to take a lot of time, and then it's going to be a big chunk of my day if I want to do it properly. And I think so far I just didn't feel like I had the right time to do it. I don't know.
Well, I think that's maybe depending also how you get into the music in general. So let's say some people then find the music and that's like, they found how they can express themselves. But if you've already found this in different ways before that, then it's music just something that you really enjoy and you love doing.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily an expressing channel.
Yeah. I
for
mean, at
you.
least not now. I'm not saying that I will never do it, right? And I mean, right now I'm very much into learning how to play drums.
Yeah.
And I know also once I get better at this, it would definitely benefit my potential productions later. So for now, I feel like I'm more focusing on this thing, right? And I focus more on other small things. So basically, it's like you have like a certain amount of things that you put together to your daily life, basically.
Definitely.
And it's like, yeah, it's like time management, basically, right? And you spend like you take 2 hours of that, 1 hour of this, and then it's like 12 hours are gone, right? And then, of course, it also depends on how much time you are willing to spend, like, you know, like keeping your social life right, like how much time do you want to spend with your friends or partner or whatever. And this creates like your whole life, like your whole routine. And yeah, sometimes, yeah, I guess for me, it's not the right time now to sacrifice, in quote marks, sacrifice so much time into producing.
Yeah.
But I will definitely get into it at some point.
Yes.
I'm very sure of that.
Yeah, I think generally clubs opening again would be a great motivator too, to hear your actually track on a big sound system.
Yeah, but that's also the thing. Like for me, it was always when I was DJing, I felt like I was already spending so much time on like preparing sets, digging for music, that I didn't want to take even more of my time to deal with that kind of like related things like producing.
Okay.
So I think for me it was always to keep kind of a balance, right? And I think at the moment also the thing is why I'm not producing is because I feel like this is what everyone's doing right now. I mean, this sounds this sounds so stupid, but you know what I mean? Like, there's like so many people producing so much good music, and this has always been kind of a part for me to kind of stop me from it, or like, because I feel like, fuck, there's so many people doing incredible things, and they have like really developed their own style, and just imagine how much time and effort they've put into this until something like that came out, and they've become so good at what they're doing now. And this has always been, yeah, kind of demotivating for me, because I know there's like so many people already doing it, and of course there cannot be enough music in the world, but I feel like, which is a feeling I have both with music, with films, or with books also, like just thinking about it, that my whole life I will never be able to read all the books that I want to read, for example. Like, there's going to be so many books out there that I'm going to just missing, you know, like I'm going to have like big FOMO of missing everything out, you know.
Well, you could listen to them and fast forward, like play them at a higher speed, you know.
You mean books?
Yes.
No,
so you can
it's not about
ingest
that.
more
No, it's not about that.
books than you could actually read.
Actually, I saw this ad the other day where I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, there was this ad on Instagram of like a girl, and she was like, what did she say? She was like, I read 7 books in one day, you know. And then it's like about this app where you can just, basically you get like just a concentrated of the content of the book, just the main important points.
Yes.
And I think it's really weird, you know. It's like, this is like this whole like efficiency thing. Like, we need to be faster, better, more efficient, and I think that's very unhealthy.
Well, it is a sickness for sure, but I think it also depends really on your goals, where you're going.
Sure.
So if people wanna have like get the essential knowledge of the books to get into a certain field, it's different than actually getting an emotional touch with the book and the physical book and the writer and the way.
Of course, there's for sure different approaches to reading a book, and also different goals of reading a book, right? But yeah, I don't know. Like, for me, it's I want to be able to enjoy the things I do, and it's not about having. I mean, when I say I fear that I'm gonna miss out on a lot of good books, it's not like I'm really scared about it. It's more like this thought of, there's like so many hidden treasures that I'm never gonna find. And it's the same with music, and the same with movies, you know. And I think, I know this shouldn't stop me from doing music myself, because that shouldn't be the goal of actually doing music. The goal should be just creating something because you enjoy it, and not because you want to put something out to make it successful or whatever. But still, this is still a point that kind of, because I think then, like, I'd rather spend my time on like finding these treasures than like producing something myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for me, this has more value in that point then. But yeah, we already said why it is like that, because I don't feel like I need this output. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's different kind of connections. Sometimes it's very nice when you have like the flow and it's going. I think I was also always interested in, let's say, how the program works, how the machines are functioning, and this kind of thing. So, but yeah, for a lot of people, but some people are like crazy with the amount of tracks they can produce. But I think those people are like very good at capturing the moment, like a moment, and then making a track out of it and just finishing it up instead of really extending it.
And that's also definitely an art, to be able to finish something.
Yeah.
And not be like, because I'm definitely the kind of person that would work on one track forever and would never find an end. Because I never feel like I always would find probably something there which I feel like I could do better. And I had this flatmate that I talked about, the flatmate that brought me the turntables.
Yes.
He used to he produced drum and bass music, and on a dubstep. And he showed me a couple of tracks, and they were really good, and he never finished anything. Like, every week basically he would come over and be like, hey, check this out, I made a new track, but he never finished any of it. And that was so like, it's so frustrating because I saw so much potential in his music, but if you never finish anything, it's not, I mean, that was like the total opposite for him. Like he was the more extreme version of like just doing stuff for the sake of creating.
Yeah.
And not even having the urge of putting anything out, right?
Yes.
So that's like even the opposite. But yeah. I saw an interview with a writer, and she talked about creativity and how like this whole process works, and that was super interesting to hear because what she said was you have to learn that in the beginning when you start doing something. Let's say now if we say it's producing music, when you start producing music, you have to take in account that of course your skills are not as good in the beginning. You have to learn these things it's going to take a while till you will do anything good, right? That's also super frustrating to know, like, okay, I'm going to start doing music and the first 2 years, everything I'm going to do is going to be total shit.
Yes.
And I will never have the feeling that it's going to be good because once you start producing, you already have like several years of knowledge of how music sounds to you, right? I already have an idea of what I want to have in a track that's good to me. Like, what are the elements that I need? Like, how does a track get interesting to me? So I know all these things from like listening to music over years and years. So I have this idea in my head how it should be, and then not being able to do anything nearly as good as that because I just lack the skills.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what she said. That's something that you just have to take. You just have to like live with that basically, and you have to make peace with that. To know. And she also said like she was writing a book, and then there was this. Unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the writer anymore, but she said like she wrote this book, and there was this one character that was very weak, and somehow she just couldn't get this character right. Like everything else was fine, and this book was very successful, but the critique was always that on this one character that she couldn't get right. And it was funny because she said then like, yeah, she totally knew this, and she found it funny that people actually pointed this out because it felt like they didn't think that she was aware of that at all. And she was like, no, but I'm totally aware of this. I just wasn't able to do it any better, like this is all I could do now.
Yeah.
And I just had to make peace with that and just put it out because otherwise I would never finish it.
Yes.
And I found that, I just found that very wise to say it, to this kind of approach to it and knowing this. But yeah, this is, I guess, also what's stopping me kind of at the moment.
Well, I think generally starting point, it's funny because I talked about this with, like in the last episode, Raphael. And, but it is about setting the starting point, and then you can measure from there what the improvements you're doing. But I think for me personally, I started producing, let's say, one genre, and then I went basically through all the genres because I thought it was very interesting to make different rhythms.
Yeah, definitely.
So then you're making shitty beats in different genres, but you don't care about it because that's not your goal actually, but you're still gaining the skills and the software.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was kind of like interesting for me.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I mean, I ordered a book because I love like going the analog way and learning things through books.
Yes.
So I ordered this book. It should arrive in the next week. It's called, I think we talked about this book once already. It's called again? The Secrets of Dance Music Production, I think.
Okay.
Haven't we talked about this?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, to be honest.
And it's a book. It shows like different, basically how different dance music genres are built up in Ableton in production. Like different kind of rhythms you have and patterns and let's say.
Was it Attack Magazine?
Yes, exactly. That
okay,
one.
we definitely talked about
Yeah,
this.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to Attack Magazine.
And yeah, I'm actually excited to be like, just like treating it as if you're doing like a course, right? And just building these things yourself on Ableton through like basically just copying what they have in the book, just to understand how these rhythms work and how they work together. I think that's super interesting, and like, yeah, it will definitely help you later a lot, Yeah, I think there's very different approaches. Like some people they just download Ableton, they just start producing stuff and just the way they feel it. And I feel like I'm basically like preparing myself to serious production later.
Yeah.
Like through like, learning to play drums, to get a better understanding of rhythms, of percussion, and then like, like trying to learn these different things so I have a good base on what I can build my things then. Because I think what I'm trying is I think I'm trying to skip this 2 years of producing shitty stuff because I don't want to produce shit stuff. I think that's basically, I don't know, this is just wild theories now, but
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm doing.
No, but I like the way you approach music generally with producing, like the equipment you bought. It's very analog,
Yeah.
But I think it's very nice because it has a very different flow than just sitting behind the computer
Yeah.
and clicking to make some beats.
Yeah, actually, I really admire people who can do that like this, like, and I see people, I don't know, working on their laptops on Ableton. It's like, how can they do this? Like, on tiny screen like this, you can barely see half of the stuff that you're doing. Wow, I really, like, this is what I really admire when people have this, like, nerdy gene, which I totally don't have. And I'm really jealous people have it because I want to be nerdy, and I'm trying to be nerdy so hard, but it's very tough for me to be nerdy. I don't know. And yeah, and I really admire people who just manage to like just stick to this one thing and then just do it,
Yeah.
and not feel like maybe this could be somehow, the whole surrounding of it could somehow be like better, I can maybe improve these things before I actually start doing this, which is definitely my approach way more.
Yeah.
But yeah, this ends up like into me never doing anything really because I always try to improve everything instead of just just going for it.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you also picked like DJ, and you stayed at it for so long, and you improved at it too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, sure, but DJing is, it's technical to a certain level, but it also, of course, depends what kind of DJ you are. If you're like just playing tools and playing like 4 decks at the same time, like Ben Sims or whatever, that's a very, very technical way of DJing, and you have to have a lot of skills to do this. But the way I do it and the way I know a lot of people do it is not so super technical. I know a couple tricks of how to make a nice transition.
Yes, you do for sure.
But I don't feel like it's super technical, like it's very, in the end, I rely very much on my tracks and not on my skills so much.
To be honest, like all the sets I've heard from you were always like very, very, very on point, and I was always impressed. It's like, on the mixing skills, but like one of the tricks that you use, I think it's with the high pass or the low pass filter, low pass filter. But I think might be good to take a little break.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I feel my brain is a bit fried already.
Cool. We'll be back in a second. See you. Welcome, everybody. We're back here with you.
In the studio.
AKA my house.
Yeah. No, it's a good home studio.
Thanks.
I like the lighting.
Yeah, it is actually really interesting. I just figured this out like 2 days ago. Please don't judge. But basically, if you have like a lamp that you can change the direction of it, and you just like point it to the wall, it will give like a different kind of lighting.
In a nutshell, Yusuf discovered indirect lighting. Whoop whoop.
Is that called indirect
Yes.
Well, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, I think it's good if you keep learning and learning things late than never learning, or being too stubborn to admit that you like the way you did before was not as good as it's now.
Yeah, I'm always keen on learning new things, but I am still stubborn in doing my own thing and figuring out on my own way, like the mistakes.
Yeah, but there's different ways of learning, and it's a process to learn to let go also of your stubbornness.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I've learned this the hard way, but generally that's the way I want it to be because of my stubbornness. I still am very stubborn.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But then for you it's also okay because you don't know how it could be better, right? For you it's in that way it's perfect the way it is. I hope.
Yeah, of course.
It's okay.
I think looking back, there is a lot I would have done different.
Of course.
Knowing the circumstances now, or just generally like.
Yeah, but that's normal. I mean, that's how you develop and how you evolve. You learn from your past mistakes.
Yeah.
In the best scenario.
Yes.
I think learning is a very important thing. To be able to admit mistakes is very important. And that's something that a lot of people are not able to do. And that stops people from like finding their full potential and becoming like a better person or whatever, right?
Definitely.
Or like, yeah.
No, but I think that is true. You can be stuck in a cycle, basically, of not...
Very much. And it's very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a topic actually I was thinking about a lot because I had an experience with a person who I felt was very stuck in their way of doing things and not realizing how unhappy they are. I mean, no, they knew how unhappy they were, but still they couldn't see that, all they do is just like contributing to this feeling bad and not being able to get out of it. And then it's like a vicious circle and it keeps going and going. And, like, it's what you say, like negative things, they draw negative things and positive things draw positive things. So the circle can also become like a good circle and you can like develop more positive things and it's like going on in a positive circle where you feel like you're growing and you're like staying in that positive circle somehow.
Yes. Yeah, I think a lot of people, if they're in the negative cycle, let's say, or circle, I don't think they don't blame themselves for certain things. They would put a lot of stuff on circumstances or things that are outside of their power. It's like everybody else's fault. Or like because of something happened in the past, like a trauma thing.
Definitely, they're never able to reflect on like their own behavior. And I mean, that's a mental state that you have. Like you can be like, like you can be like, oh, Corona's so shit, why does this happen to me? And you don't see, actually this is happening to everyone. But it's the way you deal with these things and the way you try to see. So for me, it's like trying to see a positive thing in the negative thing, right? Even if it's a shit situation, you try to make the best out of it. And like you have this circumstance and you cannot change it anyways, right? Like you will not be the person who's gonna invent the vaccine and then save the world, right? So
True.
You just need to find a way to deal with it, I guess. And that's the thing that many, many people fail at doing. They're just getting totally stuck in this, what they find misery and just be like, oh, this situation is so shit, I can't change it. I'm so miserable. And they're just, I don't know, giving up somehow. I think that's dangerous.
Definitely.
Very dangerous. I mean, there were so many news about, people from the club scene and stuff during Corona, during this whole past year. There's a lot of like news about people who died by suicide and stuff, right? And it's crazy how much like this, I don't know, like how like people really build on this one, like all their life revolves around nightlife, right? So they work in clubs, all their friends is in that circle basically.
Yeah.
And or maybe it's people who don't have that many friends and they get the social contacts through being at the club and talking to strangers, or like you maybe know the bartender and because you're regular, so you have like these nice chit chats and stuff,
Yeah.
It's not a real friendship in that sense, but it's like a social contact that you have, and that prevents you from feeling lonely, I guess. And having that like taken away from you, and like also maybe spending all your free time in clubs and stuff, you don't know how to occupy yourself when you're alone at home, because when you're alone at home, you would go to the club in a normal situation.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy how what of a big impact it had actually on a lot of people. I mean, of course, it had a big impact on everyone, no question. But for some people, it was more extreme in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think generally, for me also, I would meet a lot of people in the clubs, and it's always super nice to hang out and talk about like everything and do stuff together. But it's always around like nightlife, and some of the people, it's just very nice to spend time with them at the dance floor.
Yeah.
And you don't really chill outside of the dance floor.
You would probably not even have something to talk when you meet outside, right? There's like, I think that a lot of people had these kind of like contacts which are like basically every time you meet, you are drunk or high, you know? And so everything that you say is like, is like related to the area, like this nightlife scene. And I think that's exactly why so many people really had why it was so fucking hard for so many people to deal with this, like suddenly staying at home and having to find something to do that is not clubbing and that's not related to meeting anyone. And yeah, I think it's just generally kind of dangerous to put all your, let's say, eggs in one basket, as in like just having your whole hobbies and everything just revolving around this one thing. And not only hobbies, social contacts, everything. And this is really where it shows, like this pandemic is where it shows that this is really, really dangerous for your health. And it's not stable, because if this one thing breaks down, your whole life breaks down basically, because this is your whole life. And yeah.
I think a lot of people feel like that, you know, their whole life just kind of gone. But it's funny, today I was walking back from the train station, and I saw the bouncer of Berghain just walking around.
Actually, I have a funny story to this, because my friend, he was actually in the tram the other day, and he wrote me a message and was like, I'm sitting back to back with Marquardt right now. And then we came up. It would have been so funny if he would have it would be so funny if he would like stand in the door when he tries to get out, and he would be like, not today. That would have been so fun. I tried to get him to do it, but he didn't.
But yeah, he lives around here because another friend of mine who also lives in the area, she sees him like more often.
Yeah. And how does he? But I think he's fine, no? Like he has this all this art stuff.
Yeah, but I don't know. The thing is, he was walking basically, and he had his sunglasses on, and there was no sunshine. It's winter and it's rainy, and just...
I think that's always a bit awkward when people wear sun.
To be honest, it was not awkward on him at all. He just like rocked the look. Let's say it's his vibe, you know.
Maybe it's just a style.
Yeah.
I think we can agree on that generally. When people wear sunglasses, when it's not bright, it's kind of weird, no?
Yes.
Like you always think like, what are they hiding?
Yes, well, a lot of people wear it because they're, high.
Sure.
You can see it in their face, but sometimes it's just a look.
Sure, but I think it's very kind of paradox, because they probably wear them to shield themselves from the outside world, or to like make themselves more like hidden from it. But because they're wearing these sunglasses, they get, at least for me, I would be even more attentive of this person.
Yeah.
Because I would be curious and be like, why is he wearing the sunglasses right now? I would start thinking about it.
Definitely.
And start making up some like theories in my head why this person's wearing sunglasses right now.
True.
And it's kind of paradox. It's funny.
That is, yeah. But I think it also comes down to which extent the darkness of the sunglasses are.
Sure, if you
Or
wear like
is-
see-through pink sunglasses, it's okay.
No, but that's a look. Then you're not really hiding because you can see
No,
through
then
them.
it's just style.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, so he had kind of those where they go from the dark, like on the top, but they go to less
yeah.
dark, like down
I'm sure those have a
on
name.
the bottom.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
So could you see his eyes?
You could see his eyes, but not very clearly
Ooh,
because
mysterious.
it's half. But he has like the tattoos all over the face and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, he's for sure not wearing the glasses to hide who he is.
no,
Then he would have to wear like a, I don't know, like a full head mask
true.
or like a plastic bag on the head.
Plastic bag on the head. Yeah, but if you wear like a mask and a like a beanie,
Yeah.
you can actually almost, and then like the sunglasses.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, in summer, I had this like a couple of times. I was feeling so funny because I try to like not wear a cap plus sunglasses because I feel like then I'm too hidden. It's too much. Like I would wear either a cap or sunglasses, but not both at the same time.
Yeah, because otherwise you're just like a puppet thing with the mask on. It's
Yeah,
like
and then the
nothing.
mask on top of it,
Yes.
you're not showing, and then maybe even also headphones, because then you hide everything of your face.
That is
Damn.
interesting, but it is the situation, and it is possible. It's not weird anymore to do this.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to remember if I have ever seen a person this summer wearing all three things plus a mask. I think that would look really weird. I'm trying to imagine you because
True.
you're wearing headphones right now and a cap.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to imagine you wearing also a mask and sunglasses, and I think it would look very weird.
Well, I can put it on actually.
Don't do it. I think it would make me laugh. And as I think it's when you talk to someone, it's kind of awkward to have someone talking with you when they wear sunglasses where you can't see their eyes.
True. Wait, I need to take the headphones a little bit off. Oh.
I mean, you already look like, even without sunglasses, you look already pretty. You look like you would go to a radical left demo. Throw some stones. That's how you look right now to me.
Oh. Okay.
Ooh, and on top of the cap, you can also put hoodie.
Yeah, okay, but the hoodie's then too obvious. Because
Yeah, it's
if
true.
you do the sunglasses and the cap, then you're still summer. It's summer.
It's true, actually. Yeah, it's true.
Right.
You wouldn't wear a hoodie. And oh wow. Okay, this creeps me out already. What the No. Oh, don't do it, please. I think I cannot talk to you normally anymore now.
But this is funny. It's like I'm trying to look at my phone, but it has like Face ID. But because of all the stuff on my face, of course, it doesn't recognize.
You can't unlock your phone anymore.
Nope.
Well, that was a fail then.
Okay, wait. Okay, yeah, this is definitely too much.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna take this off.
Yeah, please. I think it's funny. Like you see these people around wearing headphones, sunglasses, and a cap, and
Yeah.
it's like, how much shield do you need from the outside world, right? I don't know. It's
Well, to
interesting.
be honest, the thing is, sunglasses is for summer generally. Just
Well, for you it is.
yes, but yeah, and if it's like very hot and you just need a hat, then you put a hat on. So it's pretty common that I wear both.
Okay, but I mean the cap already protects your eyes from the sun, no?
Yes, but not. So the hat is then more of head protection rather than eyes protection.
I see, but then.
But I would not wear a mask and sunglasses because they sit kind of on top of each other,
Yeah, it's true.
So that's a bit uncomfortable. That's
Also-
also why I actually don't wear headphones with sunglasses.
Yeah, me neither. That's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I used to always listen to music when I go out, when I go to supermarket or whatever. And I haven't really done that in the past years. I used to even ride my bike with headphones on, which is super dangerous. And I wouldn't do it anymore. Because I rely very much on my hearing when I ride the bike, I realized. And just not having this, like, just having my hearing blocked basically from the traffic outside would scare me now. Like, but it's interesting. The older you get, the more careful you get about these things.
Yeah.
And I realized, the other day, like on New Year's Eve. So because I'm so scared of loud sounds and stuff, I'm terrified of fireworks. And I had to go and buy some groceries. So I put on my headphones and put on music and went outside. And I hadn't done that in like years, I think. And it's like, it's so funny because it gives your whole world a complete new soundtrack. And it's kind of, it was like, I know for other people it's so normal to do this, but for me it was like such a funny kind of new experience because I haven't done it in so long. And I was thinking maybe I should do it more often now again. I kind of totally forgot about it because I have this like, I want to feel my surrounding when I'm outside. And if I wear headphones, I totally like impact that somehow. But yeah, I guess it's different. Do you listen to music when you're outside?
No.
No.
So I used to, well, depends. So the thing is with like the new bike that I got when I go cycling, I'm just more into biking and I don't want to have too much stuff, so I can just be flexible. So I don't want to have like the headphones on my head and there's like a cable connecting it to my phone.
Well, there's Bluetooth speakers now.
Yes, and I'm about to go on to that topic.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's very nice indeed when you're cycling to have the surrounding sound so you can hear from which way the car is coming.
Yeah.
But sometimes I do put like earplugs in or like the small headphones that go, but not all the way plugged in, you know, like the old school ones.
Okay.
That you don't have to push into your ear, just hang in your ear.
Okay. I don't use in-ear headphones at all, so I have no idea what exists on the market.
No, but what I mean, those are like the old school things that came with the iPhone, basically, you know.
Ah, okay.
That just lay in the ear case.
Yeah,
basically.
are they? Don't you put them in a bit? I mean, how do they hold then? Like,
because you have like this thing on your ear.
Okay.
When you put it in, you know?
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to explain. But there is like you can put a thing in and the shape of the thing basically makes it possible to put it in. This is basic stuff. This is like one of the first things that came out, like with the, you know.
Yeah. I think this is where I can show how like you can see how like non-technical I am. I have no idea about these things.
Okay, so basically they're the ones that people can also hear from a distance when you put on. I had this once I was in the bus going to university, like back when I was like younger.
What's younger?
I think like maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
Basically.
So like 20, around 20. Sorry, now is that a mystery, your age? And now I revealed your age. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
This was really
so that
old.
was around 19. I think maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 19 or 20 years.
Yeah.
And I was in the back of the bus listening to house music, but I was really bumping it hard, you know, like the maximum my MP3 could go.
And then on these shitty headphones as well.
Yeah,
nice.
It wasn't like headphones.
Earplugs. I mean,
yes.
Like must have sounded amazing.
And the bus driver stopped and shouted at me if I could lower the music.
Really? And you were sitting in the back of the bus?
I was sitting in the back of the bus. It was a very quiet ride. Nobody was speaking or anything, so it was.
Wow.
But they are so, because your ear shell basically reflects it to the outside as well.
Yes.
So you hear it loudly, but other people can hear it also.
Yeah,
loudly.
but I mean, the bus also makes a sound when it drives, right?
Yes.
It must have been really loud.
Well, it was. They don't go that loud, but you know, it's just.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'm just trying to imagine. It must have been really loud.
Yeah.
Was it hurting your ears?
Well, I was really into it at that time.
Yes.
It's like the maximum you could go. I think now generally like iPhones and stuff, you can only go a certain like level. But I think
it's still very loud. Like when you're on the max, it's way too loud. Like for me at least.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know.
But yeah, it's interesting because I used to be less sensitive to this as well. And I can tell, like, the older I get, the more sensitive my ears become actually. And I mean, I used to go to clubs without hearing protection completely. And like, let's say in Berghain, on the Berghain floor, it was still very loud, but I could bear it also without hearing protection. And now if I use the even if I use the hearing protection, it's almost too loud sometimes. It depends very much where you are. But like, yeah, now I think it's like where you can tell that you're getting old and a bit posh. You know, like you don't want to go to the club without hearing protection anymore.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's like I cannot enjoy it even anymore. When I have the feeling it's hurting my ears, I cannot enjoy the club. So I really need this.
Yeah, I understand, but I think for us being in the club environment and being a lot for you even more because you're working also there.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of exposure to high volume of sound for a long time.
For sure.
So I think then your ear generally becomes also more like sensitive in a way that's becomes more sophisticated to the sounds because you're also
more aware, huh?
Yeah.
True.
I'm not sure. And of course, maybe age plays a role, but we're pretty young.
Yeah, I mean, for us,
right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm old, but like, you know, now when you see, I mean, I started going to clubs when I was like 21, 22, and I felt super grown up, of course, because I was going to the club. But you know, then you see these nowadays, I mean, let's say a year ago, you go to a club and you see these kiddos who are like beginning of 20 and you think, wow, they're so young.
Yeah.
And like everyone is so young. Oh my God, I'm so old.
Yeah.
No? You never felt that way?
At certain parties, for sure.
Yeah, of course, it depends where you go. Of course. But even sometimes, especially when you go into a club where that has maybe a bit more like an older crowd, and I don't mean old, but I mean like older as in like end 20, you know, like, and not like beginning of 20. And then when you see in those clubs, see people who are very young.
Yes.
Then it's like, oh my God, they're so young. Yes. What are these kids doing here? They should go home and like, you know, grow up first.
Yeah, exactly. Be a kid.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're thinking like, wait, but I did the same when I was younger. And I don't know, age, man. It's a very interesting thing to think about. Yeah.
Yeah. Just time passing by. But this is the thing, when you talk about the new kids, you know, that you've crossed, you know, to the other side. Because, you know, I also talk like sometimes about the new generation and this kind of thing. And it's if you're talking about the new generation, you're not the new generation anymore.
No, definitely not. And it's so interesting. The other day I was riding public transport and it was S-Bahn, I think. And there were these two kids. I think they were like maybe like 15, 16. And they were so stylish. They looked like, it's crazy. It's like, they were like dressed like out of like some cool hip Instagram account thing, right? Like there was this one girl and she was like wearing these like pants with like, how do you say, with a wide end.
Yes.
I don't know, how do you call these in English? In German, it's Schlaghose.
Okay.
And like she was wearing like this crop top and this really cool jacket, and it looked so. The thing is like there's a difference between people who wear these and it looks kind of like they just put this on, but it's not them. Mm-hmm. And it looked completely authentic on this girl. Like it looked like she really owned the style, you know. Yeah. And I was so shocked because when I was 15, 16, I had zero style. Like I didn't even have a feeling for it, you know, like an aesthetic kind of awareness of it for it. And this is something that like developed like maybe when I was 18, 19, like I start like developing more of a taste, you know, or like even thinking like having like feeling for aesthetics and stuff.
Yeah.
And when I was that young, I didn't bother about these things so much at all. And I think this is something that you can really see in the younger people. They kind of, and this is something like a topic I've listened, I think I read an article about something, I don't know, but like it's a topic that's been on my mind a bit. how like social media, for example, like especially Instagram, and having this like having smartphones at a young age already, how that really really influences your way of like thinking and your way of growing up, and influences the topics that concern you basically. And yeah, like this is a topic I've been like looking into, like, you know, how social media is so basically how addictive social media is, and what it does to the younger generation, because they grow up in this world where everything is so perfect, and so like they always see examples of, you know, like really cool people on Instagram, you know, posting cool pictures, doing cool poses, you know, and how this influences your whole, it takes up so much space in your head that you should probably use for more important things. You know? Yeah.
Yes. Well, this is, I think this is only something that could be found out because the new generation is basically gonna do different things, but they also view things differently. I think, of course, like addictive behavior and like illusional view of reality is not good.
Yeah.
Like in general.
But also like it really makes people say exactly. So there was this thing about like how loneliness is connected with social media, and that was super interesting because so they made this experiment with teenagers. They had like a peer group of, I think they were like 16 or something, the pupils who went to high school.
Mm-hmm.
And they had two groups of, I think it was like 10 or 15 pupils, so like 30 people in total. And half of them would be taken away their smartphone for 2 weeks. And the other half would keep their smartphones. And then they were measuring after this time how lonely people felt.
Okay.
And it was interesting to see because so basically social media gives you this feeling of being like connected with everyone. So it gives you this illusion of not being lonely. But actually the people, the teenagers who didn't have their smartphones for 2 weeks, after these 2 weeks, they said they felt less lonely than they did before. And the reason for that is because they didn't have this option of like creating this illusion of having people around themselves through social media. They had to actually, you know, catch up with friends. They had to actually meet their friends in order to get this like social part in their life.
Yeah.
And I think that's super interesting. And then this is the thing, like this influences teenagers or like people growing up in this like generation of having smartphones and stuff. That's a completely different generation, and they have to deal with so many other things than we, for example, had to when we were younger. Because I don't know at what age you had a smartphone for the first time.
First smartphone, let me think.
Like roughly.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I'm really thinking.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like when I came to the Netherlands, was around 15.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was then smartphones weren't a thing.
No. Yeah.
But then, yeah, I got one basically when the smartphones came out, kind of the European market.
So you were one of the very like from the beginning on, you were on it.
Well, from the beginning on it, but I was like older than, I don't know, I think 17,
yeah,
18.
Still quite young though.
But like when I was younger, let's say from like till 15 years, there was not really much internet at all.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and we had like computer at home, but it was not connected to any internet, so you could still play some games, but that's it.
But you would actually, call your friends and be like, hey, let's meet, right?
Yes.
And there is a study about this also, that people who are now at this age, at like 16, 18 and stuff, they are meeting friends much less than it used to be. Basically, like a regular hangout would be more like writing or like sending voice messages or, I don't know, TikTok videos or whatever there is. You know, there's a lot of things that create this social, like online social experience, basically. And And just imagine, like, I'm trying to imagine how this to like grow up. You know, you see kids, they're like in primary school and they already have a smartphone, and how this influences you, like, because you're so exposed to like influences from outside, from all over the world, and this is something that we never had.
Yes.
And this really changes people. I mean, there's definitely there's studies about this also, that society gets more and more lonely.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, why is that? And of course it's because of the smartphones, it's because of social media, it's because of the internet, and how this is like really dangerous, dangerous on the mental health especially. And I mean, you can see that in some countries where it gets super extreme. Let's say Japan is a very good example, where people get incredibly lonely, and there's like, they even have a word for people who stay at home the whole time. Like, there's like a lot of people who still live at their parents at the age of like, let's say 30, 35 or whatever, and they never leave their room even. And they have a name for it. I think it's called hikimori, if I remember right. Like, I was very interested in this topic because I'm half Japanese, so, and I think this is very, like, this is a very, very, like, a lot of people say like, oh, I love Japan, you know, I love the culture, but this is not a great culture. Like, the whole society there is, if I say it a bit vulgar, it's super fucked up.
Okay.
And you can see how extreme it gets in other countries, right? I mean, in Germany, we're not at this point yet, but we can see the direction it's going in these very developed countries like Japan, how extreme it can get. You know, they have like, there's like actually the how's it, demography, like the country, like the people get like older and older. Like, there's barely any kids anymore.
Yeah.
And they're basically like dying out. Like, this is a culture that's dying out because they're got to this point where they're so lonely that they don't meet people anymore. And I mean, it has, yeah, it's very scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this is something actually important, because it is kind of a system designed to make you spend more time, like, on it, the platforms.
Yeah.
And there is no, let's say, real warning signs like, hey, we also need to let you know that this might have side effects or negative consequences for this.
Yeah.
It's all just positivities, likes, hearts.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it is for sure a real problem, because I think the digital world and the new generation's mind is bigger than the real world. As in, it's more of their reality than the actual real life outside.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is, yeah.
It's a bubble, basically. It creates like a whole world that is not real. And it's all based on, as you said, like on likes, on, you know, getting comments, and on creating content also to get these likes, you know. And it's like the system that works with, what's the word now? You know, when you, damn, I missed the word. That would be a good word now. It's a system based on positive triggers, like to get like, you know, like dopamine and like happiness hormones, happiness hormones like dopamine and stuff.
Yes.
And it works with these likes. Like, you get a like, oh, you get a little shooter of like dopamine, and be like, oh, nice, you know, someone likes what I'm doing. And then you're trying like to figure out what you can do to create more likes and stuff, and that leads people to like doing these things that are not themselves anymore, and they're just trying to be someone they're not, just to get these likes and stuff, and that's so fucking dangerous.
They're actually basically feeding into the algorithm.
Exactly.
And it's not human anymore, so the amount of likes you get is not actually an actual human reaction. It's more the algorithm kind of making it, you know.
Yeah, but it's still real people liking, right?
True. Yeah. But if the virtual world, let's say, or Instagram, is a representation of the real world, then it would be chaos, you know.
Yeah, of course.
But I think what the new generation does have, the internet generation, is that they know that the world is bigger than their own town, and that there are different, let's say, regions and countries who speak different languages.
Yeah, for sure.
And so they can have a bit more of perspective on, like, it's the same thing, just different country.
But I mean, it depends a bit, because if you're, let's say, on Instagram, you're just following things that relate to you, and you're just following, let's say, your friends and, I don't know, some sites that show you cool stuff that you like. You're basically creating your own world, right? And you just, I mean, I don't get shown on Instagram, I only get shown the stuff that interests me, basically. Even the ads are something that somehow relates to me. Like, I have to say, like, these like personalized ads on Instagram, they're pretty fucking good. Like, it's scary, but like I catch myself very often to like see an ad and be like, oh, this is actually a nice thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes me like want to look at it. I mean, luckily I'm like strong enough to like impulsively buy shit that I don't need. But I can totally see when people do it and they get. And that's what I mean, like you create this bubble. So, I mean, of course it's also a positive thing to be able to get the information of what's going on in the world if you want to.
Yeah.
But it's not like you're exposed to it. I would say this is a choice that you have and you can benefit from if you want to. But you can also, on the other hand, you can just as well create your own little bubble and stay in this and filter out things that you don't want to see.
True. It's really selective targeting.
Yeah,
of
totally.
things. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Do you want to say something?
No, I'm good.
So, yeah, for me personally, I think, yeah, like this has been a topic I've been really like looking into, like social media and stuff. Also, I've been very much retracting myself from social media. I realized, because I used to use Facebook a lot, of course, for like, you know, promoting gigs, like attending to events and stuff, and like post stuff that relates to my DJ life. But ever since Corona, I basically stopped using Facebook completely. And also, yeah, there were like sometimes, you know, I used to check my Facebook every day, and now it's like sometimes every second, every third day, I look into it.
Yeah.
But also not that much, because yeah, Facebook is dying.
Well, but I think this is the thing. So the ads that you saw on your Instagram feed were Facebook ads, so they're going into that market.
Yeah, because I'm probably also using Instagram more now than I use Facebook for sure.
Yeah.
But also I have to say I just prefer Instagram much more over Facebook, because I had the feeling, because you know I was also doing the Facebook page for Crack Belma.
Yeah.
And so I had to do posts and stuff, and it's interesting because we have like, I don't know, like around I think 16K followers, like likes on Facebook. And if I would make a post, you can see how many people you actually reach. And it was like maybe 500 maximum, right? Which is nothing if you think of how many people actually like your page.
Yeah.
While on Instagram, I can see that you reach way more people, right? You put up a story and you can see how many people actually watch it.
Yeah.
And it's always around one quarter of my followers, or even more, who actually watch it, and that's a lot if you think about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and it's interesting because all the younger generation, they don't use Facebook at all anymore. Like it's, for them, Facebook is something like really out of date and old school, and they're all like on Instagram and TikTok and what's this other Snapchat.
Well, but I think Snapchat, I haven't heard anything.
It's true, does it still exist? I haven't heard of it a long time either.
Probably, but yeah.
But it was very popular for a while, right?
Definitely.
Interesting too. You even would get these like, you know, like these screenshots from Snapchat and stuff as memes and stuff, right?
Yes.
And this I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah.
What happened to Snapchat? That would be interesting to find out.
But I lost my phone there.
That's okay. Here we go. But yeah, I mean, I can just say that like it's been very nice to not use social media that much, I have to say. And I find it sometimes scary because when you, for example, if you do a story and there's some people who always see your stories, always. And I'm just wondering how much time they actually spend on Instagram, like looking through stories and posts and stuff. And there used to be these times where I would scroll through Instagram until you reach this point where it says you've seen all the posts from the last 2 days, right?
Yes.
And this used to happen to me a lot. I mean, also in the beginning, of course, I didn't follow that many accounts and stuff, so it wouldn't be that many things, that many posts I would see.
Yes.
And now it would be much more. But it's been I think all during Corona, I never managed to get to this point where I would have seen all the posts from the last 3 days.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, but I think generally consuming social media is,
Yeah.
you can maybe do it as entertainment, to look at interesting stuff, but it needs to be limited. Maybe watch like a movie stuff is better,
Sure. I mean, there's also different ways of consuming. It depends on if you're actually contributing to it, like if you're liking. So there was also in the study that I read about social media, that was maybe a different study. I read a lot of studies about social media and experiments and like things they did.
Yeah.
And there was also one they said, when you passively consume social media, as in you're just looking through posts, but you never like anything, you never comment, you never post anything yourself, then this will make you unhappier. While when you actually contribute to social media and use it in a positive thing, like you put out you do a post and you put out your opinion, or you write a comment, you like things, when you actively engage in social media, then this can actually benefit to your happiness.
Yes. And I actually also read that article, and this is a really interesting one.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, now we're talking about it, how you can actually improve, and this is the weird kind of trick to it, because then they say, it's like, okay, hey, you know what? Use it actively, but that only benefits the platform, like too,
Yeah, I think it's in the end it's about finding a healthy balance.
Definitely.
Like a live social media balance, basically.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that social media is all bad. I'm just saying that it has a lot of potential to very negatively affect you and your mental health if you're not careful. Like with any addiction, right? It's super, like social media is super addictive. It's just basically just realizing, like being aware of like the addictiveness of it. And when you realize, okay, this is becoming too much, like let's say I'm spending like two hours a day on Instagram, that you could maybe consider this is maybe too much. I don't know. Just go out and have a life, man. Like I don't know. But I don't know. I've been very, very, very critical about social media because also. I know, like a lot of people say, yeah, but as a DJ, you really have to use social media a lot. And that's true to a part, for sure. You have to be kind of present there.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're like someone super famous and you already like kind of made it in a time before social media actually became a thing. That's a different story. But
well, I don't have like a DJ Instagram.
Yeah, but like your main thing is also the Berlin house music, right?
True.
And then with, for example, with Groovebox Masters, you have a Instagram.
I don't run it though.
Yeah, but still it's there.
It is there.
And like I'm also at this point like where I'm slowly thinking, like because for example for my DJ page on Facebook, I don't use it anymore because I never post anything there anymore because I feel like I'm not reaching anyone. Like as I explained earlier, like on Instagram I reach way more people, and then on Facebook I reach just so much less people that I'm feeling like, okay, it's not worth it really. Like and also I feel there's definitely a shift, like more and more people use Facebook much less than Instagram. And so I was at this point where I was actually I'm starting to think, or like considering to actually delete my Facebook page, because I feel like I'm thinking, what kind of use does it have now? But yeah, the events once they start again, I guess.
Yes, but I think the analytics tools and the generally advertising, that's still mainly done through Facebook.
Yeah, probably.
So if you want to be promoting events,
yeah, for sure,
like sponsored,
for sure. If I was a bit more famous, I would do it. But like, yeah, maybe I'm not at this point yet. But I'm looking forward to hopefully be at this point at some point where I can be like, okay, I'm known enough now. I don't need this anymore. You know, I can just delete it. That would be awesome. I would love that.
So let's say in a scenario where there is no pandemic anymore.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to organize a party.
Yeah.
What kind of party would it be? So what kind of lineup? Not specific, but would it be?
Like, okay, you mean if like money wouldn't be an issue? Like, and like I could pay the artist as much as I want?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
I was thinking about going a more realistic kind of thing. Let's say end of pandemic.
Okay.
But we can also go the other way.
Well, okay. So in my ideal world,
yes.
if I would create a club, let's say, should we talk about how I would open a club, or if I would just do a party in an already existing location?
I thought a party in an already existing location, but to be honest, we can take it from anywhere.
Okay, so in my ideal world, I would have probably like 3 floors, because I think so I'm starting now really from scratch. Okay, so I think if a club is too big, like let's say you have like 4 or 5 floors, it makes people wander around and never rest.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I'm on this floor. It's kind of nice, but there's 4 other floors. Maybe there's something better going on in the L floor, and it would really enhance this FOMO feeling. And so I think less floors is better for sure, so people don't wander around aimlessly. I still think it's important to have more than 1 floor, because if you only have 1 floor, you really depend on this 1 floor. And you really have to have DJs that are able to not only like to play their own style, but like adapt to people who have completely different kind of needs in that moment. And that's super hard to do. Unless it's like a really small club, right? Like Golden Gate, where it's this like vibe of this community vibe. You only have this 1 small floor and everyone is there, because there's also not much space to hang out somewhere else.
True.
So that's a different story. But I'm thinking like it's important to have to give people the opportunity to fulfill what they need in that moment. So I would create 3 different floors with very different vibe. So I would for sure have 1 like big rave dark floor with really loud good sound system, and you have like really like ravey music, like people who really want to work out and like punch it,
Mm-hmm.
And then I would have like 1 floor with like also electronic music, but like a bit more like, on the big dark floor it would be very sinister vibe, like very dark and like just brutal. And then like you would need another floor as a contrary for that, to like give people a bit more like happy vibes, like more easygoing, a bit more housey, a bit more happy music, for the people who need to need to find their happy place in the club or
house
whatever.
Music.
I mean house, not only it could also be like, it doesn't have to be house necessarily, but a bit more easy. Okay. Okay, if you say so. And then I would like to have a 3rd floor with trash music.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because honestly, the best, not the best party experiences, but definitely the most fun experiences I definitely had in places where they had trash music. Because, like, it's so, like, first of all, it's a big contrast to everything else in the club. And I think, like, trash music can be so much fun because you know all the songs, you can sing along, you can make like really silly and stupid moves, and also like it's not so set on a certain genre. So you can have a hip hop song, then you have like R&B, then you have like pop, and this gives you a lot of differences all the time, or like a lot of change through the set.
Yeah.
And I just really like that, like this like drunk people like twerking to trash music. I love it. And this is then, so you would meet, I think in that scenario, you would hopefully, I don't know, but from in my opinion, I
Yes.
hope you would meet all the needs that people have in a club.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true. Maybe a chill out zone would also
Yes.
be good.
Yes, I was about to mention that.
Yeah, but then you would have to have 4 floors, and then it's so big again.
Yeah.
Because if you
But which club would you do it in?
which club?
Yes.
Well, you need to find a club that has 3 floors.
Yeah, I know, but like, you know, which club does have 3 floors? Let me think.
So there's Menschmeier, who also have these kind of concepts of like having very different music in the way I just described,
Yeah.
which I think is really nice. Then you can have Berghain, but that's very big and very utopic that you are
Sure.
able to make a party there and like actually have all 3 floors for your own program. I mean, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But they would also probably not be so cool with having a trash floor. Just imagine a trash floor in Berlin. That would be amazing. And yeah, what else is there? I don't know. Is there any other clubs that has 3 floors in Berlin? I actually don't. I cannot think of any. Ipse?
Yes.
If you take the outdoor as well. Yeah, okay, if you take the outdoor, you actually have a lot of opportunities. Or a lot of options.
What about Sisyphus?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of Sisyphus.
Sissy.
You know. Yeah, true, Sisyphus would work too. Or I was also thinking about Blank if you use the garden. And no, actually, About Blank has 3 indoor floors. They also have the tent, which is... and yeah, I like About Blank, so I would probably go for About Blank.
Okay.
For my really cool after Corona party. That I'm totally going to pull up.
Cool. But who would you ask to play? Let's say, like who?
Who?
As in the lineup wise, what kind of?
You want me to drop names now?
I know. Yes, I don't know.
Ooh.
Can we?
I don't know, like...
Do we want to?
Pooh. I mean, let's say if... Okay, if money wasn't an issue, right?
Yes.
Well, I would have on the main... I would have on the main floor, I would have... That's tough. That's a tough question. Also, I don't want to drop any names, to be honest.
Yes. No, I understand. Totally get that.
Yeah.
I'm just used to talk, like in a more
More business way.
more personal way with no microphones on.
Yeah.
So we would drop names usually.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one thing I definitely would do is probably, I would book a lot of female artists for sure. That's for sure. Yeah. That's my only concept. Book more female artists, I don't know.
Good.
But yeah, I think generally it's, you had this in doing, so for example at Quick Belma now, we had to come up with different concepts because we cannot dance, right? So, and I think it's interesting I like these kind of concepts where you have different kind of arts in the club. It's not only DJ sets, but let's say you can also have a concert or you try different things just or daytime you have some performances, like, I don't know, like some variety, like hula hoop artists, whatever. There's a lot of cool things and which gives like this whole like experience of clubbing a whole different level because it's not only about music anymore. And I really like these concepts. And this is a thing, I think when we go back to this, what you asked me in the beginning about how do I imagine the scene after Corona.
Yeah.
I think what the scene hopefully learned in this time is to find alternative concepts and to work on not only relying on DJ sets, because I was a bit, that was also this big shitstorm, on social media when United Restream started and the DJs would just play their sets down like they are in a club full of people and they would just play exactly the same thing. And I found that so awkward and so boring as well, and not considering that people are actually sitting at home. They're not in a big club with a booming sound system around them, but they're listening to this on home speakers and you play really hard techno for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, it's so... Yeah, I think it's very limited to do it that way. And this is a thing I hope that people maybe learned in this time to like maybe find alternative ways of approaching DJing and approaching music in general, because you don't have this dance floor anymore. Everything was oriented on the dance floor or to the dance floor, and now you don't have this anymore at all. So you have to come up with other ways, in the best scenario. And this is something I hope might maybe in the future will maybe be used more. Also, like in the club itself, to not only go with the same things over and over and over again. Because let's be honest, like club nights, they used to be more or less the same always, right?
Yeah.
And this is something what I would like to see, like more variety in general in the clubs, like different kind of concepts, like things that have a bit more value just to the music itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. I think this is maybe like a very good lesson for the whole music industry.
Hey, music industry, listen now.
No, but I think it's very, but this is the sad thing, because the music industry is about music, but through the hard times we need to learn how to combine into different arts to become more essential to survive.
Yeah.
Yes, but it is a good vision, I think, for the future if wanted to flourish, basically.
Yeah, and I think you also have to come up with these new things in the future somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like maybe, I mean, we've seen it already that the whole system, they it's a stupid example, but like clubs and everything that has to do with culture has to close, but then soccer games still happen. Like what is this about? Like, this is ridiculous. It's just because soccer is like so important for the civilization, right? But it's just a fucking game. Sorry to everyone who loves soccer. I know this is has probably more value in this, but to me it's really like that. It's a sport. It's sports. It's just, it has. Of course, it also creates this kind of like community vibe around it, because people have fans and then they have their teams that they support and stuff. I understand this, but I just think it's very twisted and shows like the society we live in, right? Like how they put more value on some things than others.
Yeah, I think also like money-wise.
Yeah, exactly. It's really, really sad.
Yeah.
It's really, really fucking sad.
But it is the reality of things.
Yep.
You have to deal with it.
That's why the world is such a bad place.
No, I think we're still like pretty lucky to be healthy, and chill,
of course,
and surviving. Because
of
a lot of people,
of course,
hard.
Of course, we are really, really lucky to be in Germany, where, I mean, even though the rates are so high now, but like still we have all these freedoms, and there was some, I mean, I'm not saying it was enough support, like financial support, but there was some kind of support, right? Like there's other countries where nothing like that is, where you probably don't even have a health insurance, and you get corona, and then what? You're totally screwed.
Yeah.
So of course we're lucky in Germany, but we can see this as a positive thing. But on the other hand, we can also see that it could also be so much better. And even though Germany might be better than other countries at the moment, it's still not good in that sense. Yeah, full stop.
Yes. Well, yeah. Oh, sorry.
No worries.
Just hit you there. I'm just gonna check for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
For how long have we been talking now?
So this is another hour and 7 minutes.
Damn.
With the other one.
Okay.
So I think we're about solid 2 at least.
I think that was a good last statement.
Yes.
Germany is shit. You should do better with your culture and stuff. No, for sure.
No, but if you still have certain subjects, something you want to share,
I don't know.
some points you want to throw out there in the world.
I think I'm good. I'm not used to talk that much, I'm more, I think I prefer listening over talking. It was very funny. I was meeting with my friend the other day, and I really love her because she's so like, when we talk, it's like a trip basically, and we have so many topics to talk about, and it's like every time we just talk away for hours, and then afterwards I feel almost high.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to have people where you can talk like that. And she was saying a very smart thing, which I'm gonna quote now.
Yes.
She said that she prefers listening because when she talks, she cannot learn anything, right? And if you actually listen to other people, what they're saying, you learn so much more.
Yes.
And I found that it's totally true. And I found it very wise, this kind of view, right? Because a lot of people have this, like, they need to talk and they have to, like, prove themselves and they have to show how much they know and blah, blah, blah. While you're learning so much more when you're just listening.
Yes. Yeah, and I think it's always interesting to see the silent type because they're just observing and learning basically how
Exactly.
everyone
And they're just like
doing.
leeching. They're getting smarter and smarter from just listening.
But I think there's also kind of a fight about positions when it comes to groups, or like your status.
Mm-hmm.
And well, maybe thinkers have like I don't know. It's the thinkers is not then competing into the leader role of the group.
Yeah, because they don't need to deal with, like, they don't need this for their whole own self-esteem, right?
True.
I think people who really have to, like, talk a lot and they don't leave any room for other people to talk, it's very toxic. And for me, it really shows that, this person has issues with themselves if they cannot let other people talk, and they cannot. I mean, there's also this type that lets other people talk, but they don't take what the other person said and, like, continues that thought. They just say, like, okay, and then they start talking about their own shit again.
Yes.
And yeah, it's like.
But I was always amazed by this actually when people just keep on talking about their stuff, and it's not a two-way conversation, it's just one way.
Yeah.
But it kind of illustrates the need of people talking about stuff they do or they have done in a weird way.
I mean, I'm sure there's different motivations for them to talk, but I think, you probably cannot generalize that every person that has to talk a lot has issues with themselves. No, for sure not.
No, but that's not what I...
No, I know.
Yeah.
Because I said it earlier, that's why.
Okay.
But, I don't know. Like, for me, because I've always been more like a listening type, or like more silent type, I think. And I've just learned at some point to just talk a bit more. And also feeling comfortable in the role of, like, being the one talking and having people listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, it's also a nice feeling to talk and, like, get the attention of other people and really realize, okay, they're actually interested in what I'm saying. Of course, that's a nice feeling.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny that. But, like, there's these people who really need this, like, this is where they draw all their self-esteem from. And where they, like, if they don't get to, like, talk about these things, they would have the feeling like they're not worth anything.
Yes.
And I think this is where it's very toxic, because, you shouldn't draw your self-esteem from anything like that. Of course not.
No. That is true. I recognize this actually in a few of my friends.
But you're not going to drop any names.
No, but I think this is something good if you can actually, talk about it with them and work towards a long-term, like, improvement,
Of course.
Because at the end, you're friends also for a reason, and you want the best for them, so you need to put some of that hard love in,
Of course. And I mean, it's good that I have a friend like you who actually points these things out, because I think a lot of people are also not aware of that they're actually doing that, and they don't leave any room for other people to talk. And I find this very, very tiring if I'm in a group where there's, like, let's say 1 or 2 people always talking, and you try to say something, but they just would cut you off immediately again and start talking about their own shit without even, like, relating to anything you said before. That's not, as you said, it's a one-way conversation, and why would I then keep talking? Like, I don't see the sense. I'm not talking, like, I want to say my opinions to hear what other people respond to it, basically. And if that's not happening, that's not a conversation.
True.
So then I'm like, okay, whatever, just gonna shut up now because it's not worth it to talk. I'm gonna save my energy. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can actually achieve just being silent and not really
Oh,
listening, and they just keep on and they think,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
it's like, cool, dude, you do your story,
Yeah,
get
just
your
keep
stress
talking,
out,
it's fine.
I'm
Yeah.
zoning out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's super tiring, like on a long term.
Yes.
And then I would just be like, okay, I'm going home now. Bye. Never see you again.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah. All right.
I really need to go to the toilet. I'm sorry, I drank all this mate.
Right. So I think I'm gonna put an end to this.
Yes.
All right.
Well, thank you for the conversation.
Yes, thank you for having the conversation. It was very nice. And I think then after I finish reading the book, we will do another episode.
Okay, sure. About feminism.
About feminism.
Ooh, I would like that.
Yes.
I'm going to destroy you.
What?
Just kidding.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, and have a good one.
Goodbye. Oh.